One interesting pattern I've noticed at a relatively medium-sized casino had to do with a simple observation. Using it myself, I made win after win at very little cost, perhaps a few $100s. I was winning jackpots in the high limit room. At this local casino, Belterra Park, before it was got new owners, before it got a new operator, Boyd Gaming, it was Pinnacle, which doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, I saw that I would win once when I first sat down, but not win again for some time. And you may recognize this as my five spin method. If your casino has this method of winning, and about 1 in 4 casinos do, it's a cheap way to play slot machines in the high limit room or out on the casino floor and win. But if it works, go further. And that's what I'll be talking about today, how to start with my five spin method and then use it like the boss you are. Welcome to the next steps in your slots journey. And of course, I'll be taking your questions because this is a live stream. I'm only saying that because, of course, the people who are live here now know it's a live stream, but you might be watching this after the fact. Hello to you watching this recording, perhaps on LinkedIn, perhaps on Twitter, perhaps on my Facebook page. Welcome, and also YouTube. Thank you for being here, and be sure to subscribe for notifications so you can have your questions answered the next time I do one of these. But either way, stick around, and I'm sure it'll be of value to you, even if you are watching this after the fact. But those of you who are here live, thank you so much. If you have a question, be sure to use hashtag question. I'll add a banner to the bottom of the screen so you can see that. Perhaps it's a little small on a mobile phone, but it is there. Please use hashtag question so I can see your answer to me instead of comments in a live chat to each other, which we get a lot of. So instead of my going, where is it, where is it, where is it, use hashtag question so I can spot it right from the start. After all, this is also a community video where friends check in with each other. So improve your slots performance in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. And you can also get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free to my Slots IQ membership, where you'll get community support and accountability. Visit professorslots.com/30 days to learn more about the free bonuses, course content, and testimonials from participants. The 30 days, the Slots IQ membership doesn't start until you want it to start. So if you purchase the course and you want to wait a couple of months before joining the membership, you'll still get that first month free after joining. And you can join anytime. Some of you have bought the course a year ago and haven't used your membership, and it's still all there for you. It's the first month that you choose to join that would be free. Okay, I had a question about that in an email, and I wanted to make sure I addressed it with you guys. So look at those donations coming in. That's awesome. Let's see. Chuck has given a $20.83 donation. Thank you, Chuck. As always, your donations are appreciated. Everyone's donations are appreciated. Thank you so much for helping helping me build some travel costs funds. And also to Magpie 11, who has given a $20 donation. Thank you to Magpie 11. These are super chats, which you can go to the bottom of the live chat in YouTube, and there's a $sign that you can use, and you can choose a live chat or a super chat or a super sticker, and which would be like a little symbol and a GIF. And both of these are live super chats. And Magpie 11 says, "Winners manage their mind. Winners manage their mind." Couldn't agree more. Okay, so please like this video, and also say hello to my moderator, one of my moderator. Stop. Paula, who has driven down from Michigan, and please also say goodbye to Kiri, because Paula is taking Kiri to my sister, also in Michigan. And Isaac may be interrupting by barking at Paula's car in the parking lot. What's that? There's something in the parking lot that's not normally there, like a tree, and it's a car. And so we may get a couple of barks here. We'll see if we can keep things calm. And that is Paula. Yep. Magpie asks, and Paula has her laptop, and she's online. And there you go. And Jan, also thank you to my other moderators, Chuck, Jan, who goes by Texas Tootsie, and Joanna, who says, "Hi, Mom." Yep. And so, yes, and other moderators who may or may not be here and have perhaps not spoken up just yet. So getting back to our content, how these usually work is I talk about a topic for the first 15, 20 minutes, and then I start taking questions. So make sure you ask your questions by putting hashtag question at the beginning of your comment so I can spot it, and et cetera. And I see some are coming in, and we'll get to those. So I'll talk about this topic, and then we'll go for an hour or two answering questions. So yes, you can optimize your profits from the 5-spin method by visiting the high limit slots room. The first dozen times I visited the high limit slots room at my local casino, Belterra Park, where it does have taste, I found it odd that I would win a jackpot during the first few pushes of the button. This is when I was figuring stuff out about that local casino. But then I would spend thousands of dollars without so much as another hit. And so I was also going to the downtown Cincinnati casino, which did not have tastes, and I would eventually win and do the things that work there. And so I began to learn in my early days that each casino has its own approaches, and these approaches could be at your casino, one or the other, and sometimes both. And so you have to check for them, but I'll get into that. So I would spend thousands of dollars without another hit. I wouldn't win anything whatsoever. I wouldn't have noticed it if it hadn't been just so odd. It was so statistically unlikely, yet consistent, that it wasn't random. Visit after visit after visit over a year and a half. I'm not talking like one visit and it didn't, won this way. I'm saying I would go consistently for a year and a half and have my slots gambling records and go, this is what works. This is what works at this casino. You can see for yourself some of these videos that I made in my first short videos. If my 5-spin method works at your casino, head on over to the high limit room and try it there. Now, be very careful about this suggestion, because there's things you want to check first. This method isn't about luck, but how the casino has set itself up. They've set themselves up to give you a little taste when you first start playing a slot machine, a specific slot machine, then expect you to spend those winnings, whatever you've brought with you, and whatever you can get from the ATM. If they do this to you, if they attempt to do this to you, turn the tables on your casino and move to another slot machine and collect its immediate win, and another, and another. It's an easy way to take advantage of your casino. But first you check if your casino has tastes. I was appalled by my first video on this, talking about my experiences of being in the high limit room and using this method to win hand pays. And people were like, well, I'll just go to the high limit room and I won't check to see if my casino gives out taste with minimum bets out on the main casino floor. This isn't something that one machine has. If a casino has it, all machines in the casino have it. So how do you check to see if your casino has it? Well, make minimum bets on 20 machines out on the casino floor. 45-cent bets, 60-cent bets. What's the lowest bet you can make on a slot machine? And just find 20 of them. And if half of them give a taste, then you're good to proceed. And I've talked about some of the subtleties here. This is information for beginners. For those of you who are advanced users, we'll talk about what you do, because the natural thing to do after you've done it for like 3-4 times is, okay, how can I make this better? And so I've had other live streams like this is the sixth of my strategies. So the first of my strategies a week and a half ago was about some of the things that you can do with the 5-spin method in combination with some other stuff. But I'm not talking about that here. I'm not trying to repeat that here. I'm trying to talk about more. So like idle machines, which we'll get to in just a minute. So I also want to mention every casino on the Las Vegas Strip has the 5-spin method, has tastes, where you get tastes on, 18, 19, 20 of the machines. The shock from skeptics reporting back their success was from the Las Vegas Strip was palpable. It's a cliche, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I was happy for them. And just to throw you in the deep end of the pool, Las Vegas turns off wins. Different times of the day, different days of the week. It's all scheduled. They're not doing it to you. They were planned it a week ago, which is all perfectly legal and well worth doing for them. It's all about the marketing manipulation methods that they provide. So to help themselves, but also to, you can learn that and you can take advantage of it. So while they do have the 5-spin method, sometimes you don't make a profit and sometimes you do. So, well, we talked about this like 5 live streams ago about what to do about that. Anyway, I'm happy for them. Glad that they were winning despite the shock. Instant converts. Nothing like having a cash in hand to go, oh, I think this might work. So entire casinos full of slots enthusiasts all over the country use it successfully. I've seen it myself at Belterra Park, watching slots players make 5 or fewer bets without sitting down, moving down one row of machine and up another in the high limit room, person after person after person, all very focused, all very going from next to the next, all very low key. So they, I guess, don't get caught by the casino or something, but it was just amazing to just watch that happen. Word got out that the 5-spin method works there, and they just did it. So 5-spin method has been around for years. I saw it in a I still have Hi Mom showing. I saw it on a Columbo episode. I think it was in the first season, so that was like 1973. So I'm just the one that publicized it. So that being said, I'm not a charmer. I'm not a good manipulator. I'm fine with that. It's a good thing. I'm just trying to help my audience by providing answers to how to win at slots at casinos, understanding that every casino is different. You can't make casinos have the 5-spin method, but you can check and see if your casino has chosen to manipulate you and other players with pace. I'm not great at marketing and myself or my products. I admit that freely, but cash in your hand from winning at slots, it's kind of a convincing marketing approach, don't you think? So that's my marketing approach, giving you cash and then letting you do the thinking. My skeptics being shocked by all of that. I won't hold it against you. I won't, not allow you to take it back. Isaac, come on. That's a car. That's a car. Now, this live stream isn't a rehash of my 5-spin method. Instead, let's talk about the different ways you can optimize it for advanced users, which includes everyone who's gone to their favorite casino and successfully used it at least once, because the natural thing is to get better. So yes, you can use it in the high limits room of your casino when you formerly might not have been able to afford to play in the high limit slots room. Normally, high limit slots playing, my personal style plays high limits. I didn't start with low limits and occasionally do high limits. I dived right into the high limit slots play. But nowadays, for you, I'll take $300 to a casino and evaluate it over 2 hours at the same time on the same day of the week, so I can relate back from one casino to the next what's going on there. I'm trying to understand what you have to do with a $300 bankroll. But if anybody wants to ask me what it's like to go into a casino with $3,000, hey, that was fun and winning, making a profit at it. And so I know how much profit you can make. I have, like for instance, my neighbor, hey neighbor, if they're here, asking me about, I want to make millions. And I'm like, so you said millions plural, so you'll need to have $1 million to make $500,000 because that's a 50% profit, where you spend $1 million and then you win it all back and then half. And so you're going to have at least $2 million to make $1 million and they're looking at me like, what? No, I just want to spend $5 and make $1 million. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, not real. Okay. Normally, high limit slots playing, $5, $10 denomination machines, making $20 or $30 bets at a time takes about $3,000 to have a chance of winning. If you go to the casino with $300, what size bets do you make? Okay. Uh, how much bankroll would you need to make $20 or $30 bets? It comes out around $3,000, about 10 times as much as $300. $3,000 is expensive, but with a working 5-spin method, that drops to $500. And if you've got the 5-spin method working and you're a low limit player, then normally you might take $500 and that drops to $50. $500 is still expensive, but a lot of slots players can afford to spend a lot more. Slots players can afford to spend that amount. So I recommend you practice the 5-spin method out on the casino floor and make a small but steady profit at slots. Then once you're ahead by $2,000 in profit after a few months, consider spending half that profit on a visit to the high limit room. Or, make $2,000 in profit first and then spend $500 of that, 25% of it. It's your decision. It's your slots journey. But realize that this upgrade from the casino floor to the high limits room is a single step. Make sure you can consistently win at your casino on, out in the casino floor, then on $5 or $10 denomination machines before upgrading even further. Think of it as paying your way. Make a profit on low limit machines to afford to step up to the lowest level denomination, high limit machines, then repeat and rinse and repeat to build confidence with consistent efforts before you even move to a $100 denomination machine. One loose end with this strategy is the question of how long does a slot machine need to be idle for it to turn into a winning slot machine again after having played it and gotten the taste. How long do you have to wait when using this strategy? Well, this is called a reset. I call it a reset. Resets come in different levels, but are also stackable. Have you gotten your taste after having gotten a taste from the machine? The casino is, super busy, so all the other machines are pretty much taken. And what are you going to do? Or perhaps you would want to stay. Perhaps you also have mobility issues, which some do. Okay, then stay at that machine, remove your player's card, and cash out of the machine, but don't leave. Wait 30 seconds, put both back in, and run the 5-spin method again. Collect that taste. That's a machine's reset, but it's a minor one. If you wait 15 minutes instead of 30 seconds, it's a bigger reset. It's the 30-second reset plus the reset for 15 minutes, and they're stackable. So it climbs on the effect, becomes a minor 30-second reset, becomes a bigger 15-minute reset. An hour is even bigger, or 6 hours. But we can't wait that long at a machine, even if we brought a book. Casinos frown on occupying a machine without playing it, just to cause a larger reset. It's not a practical approach. But look around your casinos. Are chairs mounted to the floor? I mean, do chairs get pushed up to the machine by slot attendants, then pulled out by players. Hey, use that. When players are done, because the slot attendants push the machines back in place a few minutes later. And if your casino does that, great. Play only slot machines that have had their chairs pushed in. I mean, you might not have been there 5 minutes earlier to see if someone was playing it, but you can spot machines that have chairs pushed back in. And when the slot attendants are, doing that every few minutes, part of their job. So does your casino do that? Great. That's what I did at Seminole Brighton in Florida for my father, his wife, and family friends. Dave and Lois sometimes join my Saturday live streams. I'm not sure if they're here today, but I don't know if they've joined today. But for bigger and larger resets, use the 5-spin method on slot machines, which have been idle longer. Again, this means knowing your casinos well. At my local casinos in Southwest Ohio, which I have learned well, I found that just before noon on Sundays is a great time to visit, because that's the time and day of the week, the only one with the most slot machines that have been idle the longest, perhaps for 6 or even 8 hours after the Saturday night, late night hangers on left just before dawn on Sunday morning, but before the church folk get out around 12:30. So when is your casino get to the casino around 12:30? When is your casino at its lowest levels of attendance? That's when the most machines have been idle the longest. And for some of you, your casinos close for a few hours in the morning. So be the first person playing those machines when they reopen. As with all my strategies, they're counter strategies, which takes advantage of casinos' manipulative marketing practices. And not every casino uses every possible marketing practice. So first, check to see if the 5-spin method works. That first check is important. If the 5-spin method doesn't work at your casino, it's a change of attitude. Remember that you can't make them change their marketing approach to have tastes. It's what they've chosen, what they've bought, what the slot manufacturers provide. They don't provide just machines. They provide how do you run a casino well. So if those services, so if the strategy doesn't check out, whichever one, including the 5-spin method, the best you can do is check again in 6 months or a year. Or if your casino gets sold or comes under new management, that's when you recheck. That check and rechecking is like making careful steps along your slots journey, especially when you're not walking, but say climbing a cliff. Check your ropes, make sure they're secure, as that's part of your journey. And good luck on your ongoing slots journey. Improve your performance in 30 days or less with my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. You also get 3 free valuable bonuses plus 1 month free membership to my Slots IQ membership, starting whenever you choose to use it. Hundreds of you are out there having used it. It's still there for you. It didn't start when you purchased the course. It started when you chose to click the link and sign up, and that first month is free. So, we have join and have community support and accountability. Our Thursday night Zoom meetings are fantastic, and I'm really enjoying them. And it's great to hear directly from people what they want. They, provide suggestions, and I go do them. Oh, that's the same car that was there. So my dog is barking. As Paula sometimes says, Isaac has joined the conversation. So yes, how this works, if I should mention this more often, I talk for 15, 20, 25 minutes on a topic, and then I take your questions. So please use hashtag question in front of, as it says across the bottom of the screen, in front of any of your comments, so that that I can see it, because there's a lot of conversations going on. Yes, and just to catch people up who have come in since, Paula is somewhere. she stepped down the stairs when I wasn't looking, but today she is visiting here. Maybe she went downstairs. In any case, yes. So one of my moderators is here. Thank you to my other moderators. Also, I want to thank John for his $20.03 donation. This is a super chat that he's provided. And so he says, keep up the great lessons, Professor, and thank you. You're very welcome, John. You're very welcome. And let's see, questions. Scanning through these comments. Let me remove that. And I have a comment. It's not a question. Okay, there it is. Wingnut says, or should I call you Nova? There's a is it DC or is it Marvel? It has a superhero called Nova. Yeah. What is your opinion on casino giveaways such as cars, trips, etc.? Learn what. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff to say, and in case you didn't know, I won a car at a casino. Took the cash because I had. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, who doesn't check the price of the car, what it's worth, and compare it to the cash option, and who doesn't realize that if they win a car, there's going to be zero time and your hands are going to be shaking, so you can't look on your phone to find out what Kelly Blue Book calls that car, provides as the cost for that car within, with 2 miles on it when it's off the lot. So I did all that beforehand. And then I won the car, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I did it. So this is not bragging. This is what you do, okay, for promotions, for trips, for cars. You look at the rules. If there is a car, find out its value. Not new because it's in the casino. So even though it might have 3 miles, it's off the dealer lot. So what is it? And prices depreciate as soon as it comes off the lot. Find out what that car would be able to sell it for used with 3 miles. Is it a 4-door? Is it a 2-door? What model is it? Mercedes-Benz E350 was $35,000. Coupe was $35,000 used with 10 miles. And so I looked at their cash offer of $40,000 and said, deal. Even though new, it was $65,000, but I wouldn't be able to get that amount for it. Right? Okay. So trips, do you even want to go on the trip? Alaska cruise, yes. Caribbean is just hot. Maybe I got that backwards. That's just me. So I've done both free trips. Alaska was just awesome. And Western Caribbean, while I was working on my first away trip to start writing my book, Learning to Win, and I took my sister, who it's usually one plus one. So I took her on a cruise, and I said, so where do you want to go? And knowing it would be someplace warm. And she said, Western Caribbean. Okay, Western Caribbean. And so we went, and I stayed in the shade. Alaska, I took every excursion and saw the bears and saw the eagles and the sanctuaries and zip lines, and even took a helicopter with 3 other people up to the top of Menenthal Glacier and walked around on wicked sharp, highly dense blue ice, a mile and a half in the sky. Yeah, fond memories. So look at what I was surprised by, despite my preparations, what I was surprised by with winning a car was I knew that they were going to call people's names, 2 of them, on the hour and the half hour from 5 o'clock until 10 o'clock. There's so much that I didn't know, even though I tried to prepare by getting the price of the car and et cetera and et cetera. But one of the things... Stop. He's so excited to have company. And in any case, what I hadn't realized was, yes, they would call my name because I'd put my card in any machine within half an hour before they would call those names, and they called two people, and I didn't realize that they would have us come up to the location, and we would spin a wheel, big old wheel, and at 5 o'clock there was one logo in the like 15 or so spots and cash prizes and other stuff in the other spots. And we'd spin a wheel and we'd see if we landed on the logo. At 5:30, which is when they called my name, and I was the first of those two people, there was two logos. So as the evening went further, get it? As the evening went further, each half hour they would add a logo. So more of the 15 spots would, so, by the 10 o'clock, there might be half of them were most of them would be filled. So it'd be hard to kind of not win the car. And there are so I won. Uh, uh, I'm good at spinning a wheel. I'm professionally good at it, which I could get into about my job as an aerospace engineer before I was laid off. In 20 years of spinning wheels, and I just don't think about it, just do it. But I was surprised to find that spinning wheel, and so if you knew about the spinning wheel, you might consider coming at the end of the day when all those logos are on there, and you're more likely to land on a logo. And man, what did I get heat for that. I went to, something else I'd signed up for it. The next casino over, the downtown casino over. I won the car in Belterra Park at an event the next evening, and I was standing in line for the, this is at the time a Caesars rewards program, and I was 7 stars, and so I'm in this short line, and people are like, "I think that's him. That's him. I'm pretty sure that's him. Are you?" And somebody came up to me and said, "Are you John Friedel?" I'm like, "Yeah." How did you know that? And I said, "You won the car last night." Yeah, you won my car last night." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, we were going to be there at 9 o'clock so that we would win because it would be a lot more logos on the wheel, and then we'd win. And I'm like, "Sorry, I won it when there was only 2 logos." You know, sorry, but not sorry. So there's things that you can do by determining the promotion rules, some of which will help you win, but then some of them don't help you win because somebody might come in at 5:30 and be good at spinning a wheel and land right on the logo when there's only 2 out of 15 spots. So coming later, it's not a winning strategy. It's what is it? It's kind of like being lazy, right? I'm not gonna spin the wheel unless there's a good chance that I'll win. Okay, a lot more people later at night, and you have less chance of spinning the wheel, so why don't you just get good at spinning a wheel and spin it early? And these are the thoughts that need to but people are starting to put into this. I'm giving this as an example for giveaways. Think it through. Lately, I've been talking a lot about becoming a specialist at the 5 spin method, becoming a specialist at high limits, becoming a specialist at progressive slot machines, becoming a specialist at winning giveaways. Dig into it. Okay, enough of a lecture. Hope that you good luck. Let's see. So a comment, Wiz says, I usually do the taste style in high dollar section. 1 to 2 weeks ago, I went to the local casino. Very first $5 machine, I hit $200. Woohoo! Right? My casino, Belterra Park, has reduced how much we won. It used to be hand pays over $10,000, and then it was hand pays over $5,000, and then months later, it was hand pay $1,200, and then a year and a half later, here I was in high limit machines with my $500, and I would win $500 on this machine and that machine and that machine and that machine. So I was double or tripling my money. But where's the hand pays? And I had to tell myself, John, $500 5 times for $2,500 pays for gas and, pays for the trip. Be happy with it just because it was once $10,000 5 times, which I saw people do that, and I was a little nervous, like, this seems like I'm ripping off the casino, and so I didn't actually start using this method, because I was uncomfortable, like, taking money from the casino, but I got over it. It just took me a few months, and by then it was down to, $5,000 wins. Yeah. Okay, so Paula has let us know that she has ducked out of camera range. Not my thing at all. It's not my thing either. I just do it to help people. Ugh. Um, Crystal has a question. Hashtag question, everybody. Any tips for casinos on cruise ships? So cruise ships are notoriously bad. I mean, tight. But there is something that you can watch for, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I'm telling you right up front, it's going to be hard. Okay. If it's a 7-day cruise, and we're not talking gambling boats, which are day long, for a few hours going to international, for 3 days, 5, 7, let's just call it 7-day cruises. Okay. 7-day cruises. You usually board around by noon on the first day. So that's not really a full day. So the second day and the third day are full days. So those first 3 days, including a half day, that's when you might win. I mean, it's terrible odds, but worst ever. Yet, if you're going to win, that's when you would win. Why is that? Because the casino on those ships will lower the odds for the last 4 days of the trip. And you won't be able to stop if you won something. I mean, that's what they're hoping for. That's what they're counting on. That's the hard part, is how do you keep your winnings from the first few days uh, in your room, locked up, and don't go back and chase wins in the casino. The cruise ship casino is pretty confident you're not going to be able to do that. So that's why they're willing to let people win early in the trip, because they count on getting it all back, like the 5-spin method. So the hard part is going to be, that's when you can win early in the trip, even though in general it's terrible. That's better than later in the trip, because they count on getting it all back. And that's my tips. Good luck. Question from John. Thank you again for the tip. Question on return a week later. Is a 10-minute window so too narrow to go do fast spins? All I've ever done is fast spins, just constantly. I'm not going to sit there and ink it to the bet. I'm just like, and I try to slow down, because sometimes you go too fast and it doesn't register as a bet. So you're just like, try to get the rhythm down so you are as fast as possible, and do that for hours. And people have looked at me and said, "You're winning so much." I'm like, well, I'm betting twice as much as you are. So, keep in mind, I am winning, but they're like, you get spins all the time on Wheel of Fortune. And, it usually lands on the lowest possible number on the wheel, but not always. And, I've hit the 10,000, I've hit the 5,000 3 or 4 times, and in like 6 weeks. And I looked it up one time, and just to see how often I'd done that. And then, because I checked that because I wanted to see what the biggest jackpot I had won, and how many times that I won it before I won $27,000 at 5:10 in the morning, after near the holiday season. And that's what we talked about in my last live stream. And so I was like, $27,000. I was not used to that, because before that, all I'd ever won was $5,000 3 times. And by the third one, I was like, I can, I'm a little used to $5,000 win, but $27,000. I was just like, I have this. I'm not going to change my company logo, but I'm pretty sure that if I were to change it, I'd change it to Mind Blown. Mind Blown. There is I created one special for the YouTube channel, and I'll put that in. Um, uh, Mind blown. It's something that the members of my YouTube community can use. And yes, so Minka, don't understand what I'm getting at. Could you ask a specific question so I understand which part you're having questions with? Um, John, you asked a question last time, which was after I'd ended the show, but it hadn't really closed it out yet. I was off screen. I have that question. I'll try to get to it by the end of today's show. So John has a question. When a bonus round just needs 3 symbols to activate, how come when you get 4 to 5 more, the bonus rounds are usually crappy? So this is what's going on with bonus rounds lately. Casinos have begun to realize that people want bonus rounds more than they want money. That's how popular bonus rounds are. They have gotten the impression that from players that it's more than important. It's they want more fun with bonus rounds, and casinos began to realize that if somebody has, they win 197 bonus games. 657 bonus games. Well, the player made the bet to start all of that. And maybe it was retriggering with additional games, but that was one bet, sometimes made like half an hour ago. If you're not trying to hurry it along and you're just sitting back and enjoying the show from, getting all those free games, the machine has stopped being an income generating machine for the casino while all that's taking place. So why should they give you money for all those free games when they're already losing money? So yeah, they're just like, okay, you wanted bonus rounds, you got bonus rounds. Oh, you wanted money too? You didn't say that. Pretty sure you didn't even mean that. So yes, there's stuff going on with bonus rounds. And this is a trend that we're going to see, and that's how these things work until people start getting upset and they start, not playing machines that give a lot of bonus rounds but are known to not give money. Then casinos will run that right to the ground, and then they'll make a change. It's just marketing. Yeah. Jan, is it better to go to the casino at night generally? I rarely win during the day. I have gone in the morning and late at night, and not so much in the day. I mean, I've gone, 4 a.m. I've gone just before noon. I typically go to new to me casinos from about noon until 2 p.m. I wouldn't call that middle of the day. I think by the middle of the day, you might mean like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm usually out of there by then. I don't see a special reason for casinos to let people win. That's how I think about it. What's special about that period? The crowds aren't there yet. The early morning stuff and reasons to do all that is past, and it's sort of like, why should casinos make a big marketing effort in a kind of a blah time? So yeah, every casino is different. Like, if there's a local stadium and the game gets out and everybody piles into the casino because the game's over, and maybe hometown won and everybody's excited, there's reasons for the casino to make an effort. Let's give them a bunch of wins, then shut it down. So everything's tight. They give all that money back and whatever they brought with them. And then just before they go home, maybe, open it up a little bit. It's marketing. Yeah. That's what you can do with a modern technology, as long as you're not living in the 90s and the way things used to work. Um, uh, Reno has 4 seasons. Yes, I have an update on my move to Reno, uh, and I'll give that to you in a little bit. But let's see. Uh, Poker says, or Bidasar, when I play in any particular bet size after I should play, or when I win in any particular bet size after I should play or not. So in general rule is there's 2 possibilities. One is that you won and it's just lightning struck and it just happened to happen, and nothing about the no marketing things going on, no no plan by the casino for that win. It could just be a random hit, that just lightning bolt from the sky. Or it could be all those other things. It could be set to win. It could be, be a good time to play that machine. So you're better off with that win, because then you look at it and, I mean, most of us are standing in front of a slot machine and we're like, we don't know nothing because nobody's sitting there and we aren't playing it. And so I don't know. I'm just guess I'm going to try, but not you. When you win, you're like 50-50 chance that it's a winner, 50-50 chance that it was just lightning bolt struck and you're good to go. So what I like to do is, give it 10 spins, as long as it's not too expensive, or at least at the very minimum, 1, because these, rehits immediately after can happen. I found it fairly common. So, but I give it 10 spins, and, if it's given me more than I'm putting into it, I call this my tough love approach, which you can look up, and it's all, then you're onto something, and take it from there. So yeah, but if you don't win anything, then probably just bolt from the sky and you won, and take it. So this goes back to a lot of different things that I talk about: knowing your casino well, having a plan. When you walk into a casino, what's going on? You're trying to win the cruise, win the promotion, get a certain number of points that day. What's the plan? But then what happens if the unusual happens? What's the plan if something unusual happens? Like you win $1,200 hand pay, if that's unusual for you. Okay. So do you run out of the casino, or do you put half of it in your pocket? Do you put back into your pocket what you brought to the casino and the rest is playing money? What's the plan? Because when you win, you want to remember the plan and not make the plan, because you're not doing your best thinking then. Because the third plan that you have to have is, what happens if you win 10K or 150K? Well, leave. That's what I would recommend. No matter what the plan is, get out, and so 3 plans: what you're there, and get your entertainment, what's going on, but then 1 plan for a nice win, and then 1 plan for a big win. Because I'm telling you, you win a car, you can't even sign your own name and it be recognizable. The adrenaline's pumping. Been there, done that. Yeah. So remembering a plan is easier than coming up with one. Believe you me. Yeah. Billabong. Am I married? No. And if yes, then wife will allow you to play slots and any other game. I can understand spouse situations. After when do you give something to her? I'm interested to listen to. What are other people going to say? I have friends who may not be on here, that are couples. One of my moderators is, I don't know which one's speaking because it's a couple. What there are downsides and upsides to winning. Sometimes one of the spouses uh, uh, is good at keeping money, and the other one borrows it from them and says, "I need another $100. Are you sure?" Well, yeah, and you have that negotiation. You might be either one of those two spouses, or you're both good at money, or you're both terrible at money. There's all kinds of conversations about going to the casino with spouses. Somebody who's meticulous and careful can be kind of like, do I have to go with my spouse? So some, don't have mobility issues. Some do. Uh, Going to the casino with a spouse is a whole thing. Going to this casino is to date someone that you just met. Somebody suggested that I sort of make Professor Slots like a dating sort of site, dating suggestions, how to go to the casino and date and find out about your date, and for potential, you know, there's, I mean, I look at the stuff that I could talk about, and there is a huge number of things. Um, I it's not couples counseling. Yeah, there's all kinds of things going on with taking a spouse to the casino. Absolutely. um, Giving a gift sounds great. Allowing you to play slots sounds great. And reversed, getting gifts, uh, getting, allowing your spouse to play. It's all part of it. Um, yeah, that's a good point. Uh, Sorry, I have to keep my voice in shape to keep on talking. I saw some comments got a little bit personal. It's interesting how uh, what things are going on. Yeah, uh, Minka, might the casino shorten the idle time during busy periods? Well, they would have to. I mean, it's not really up to the casino, because when it's busy, no machine is not being played. I was shocked by going in on a Friday night, no, Saturday night, late on a non-busy summer's day when everybody's out going to the picnic or whatever, and recording what the symbols were on machines in the high limit room. Not a win, just whatever it was. And I went back in like 12 hours later on Sunday morning just to see how many of them had been played, how many of them had new symbols. Not jackpot hits, just, it wasn't bar something something, and anymore. And I was shocked that it was every one of them. Every machine had been played during a slow period for a 12-hour period. So I know that every machine is going to be, the idle period is not going to exceed 12 hours, because I tried on a slow day and the slowest day of the year at the slowest day of the week, and they were all played on high limits. What the heck? So when there's a lot of people and casinos are busy, uh, you know, the shortest time is 30 seconds, and that would be, um, you know, a minor reset. And sometimes that's all you get. Now, I kind of glossed over this when I was talking about it. You can sit at the machine and force it to be idle by sitting at the machine and not playing. You can do that as long as you want. Bring a book, read for an hour. Now, casinos don't like that, and they might have something to say about it. I have gotten in trouble with the security guard for having a book under my arm when I walked into the casino. What is that? A book? They're yelling at me, and I'm like, dude, it's a book. Yes, it's a book. There are some that are pretty, upset about, you need to be playing, and uh, and you can't force it to be idle. Yeah. Richard, what are the best times of day to play the 5 spin method? So Richard is talking about, he's an advanced user. So if you go to Las Vegas, and every casino, they have the five spin method, but sometimes you won't make back the money that you spent. And then a couple hours later, you will, and then some. And so everything is up and down and up and down to whatever schedule, was the Knights playing their hockey game, when does California come to visit? Is the weekend, is the week, what's going, every day is a different day. This is why I say, get to know your casino. And also, for the paid consultations that I do, and for people going to Las Vegas who want to prepare for their trip, I say, don't go to 40 casinos. Focus, pick two or three. I went to 3 casinos in one day in Louisiana, and I'm sure they're 20 minutes apart, 40 minutes apart. It was exhausting because I was walking through it going, okay, this is working and this is not working, and I can see this and I can do that. And and it's a lot of brain power. And 3 hours, 3 casinos in one day, the Las Vegas Strip has 40 casinos. That ain't happening. One of the other things I advise people who have paid for clients who have paid for a paid consultation is, during your downtime, figure out, what you want to do on your next Las Vegas trip. That you can do that, but basically take a break. Do some reconnaissance. That sort of thing. So these are the things I talk about for those people who need that. So what Richard is talking about, Guru is talking about, is that Las Vegas and perhaps other states in the country. I haven't been to every casino. It's impossible for me to get to. If I went to 2 a week for the roughly 1,000 casinos in the United States, it would take me 10 years to get to all of them. So there's things that I would love to have gone to every casino and figured out, but mostly I have to rely on you. And not to talk about that, but to talk about this. There's nothing universal. There's, if you're in Maine, if you're in Wisconsin, if you're in Oklahoma, if you're in California, if you're in Texas and Louisiana or Florida, it is not the same time and the same time of day. So I cannot answer that question for the best times and the best days for the globe, for the world, for even the United States. But I can tell you how to find the best times and the best days at your casino, which is, first off, look for them. I have strategies about listening. I have approaches that will tell you, how to use the 5 spin method. We talked about that 5 live streams ago about how to use the 5 spin method to assess slot machines, to assess the casino. Yeah, straightforward enough. And if you find the best time, that was the biggest lesson that I learned when I went from one casino, winning at one casino downtown Cincinnati, to the next casino over, Belterra Park. And I thought what worked at one casino would work at another casino. And it was completely different. But there were ways to win. But I couldn't, that's one of the pieces of advice I give to clients during consultations is keep track of what works at a casino, and don't assume, well, I'm just lucky, so anywhere I go I'll just do whatever because it's me. No, it's the casino. So take notes by casino. Okay. Okay. Well, we've chased her away from being behind me. Camilla, my cat is going to make faces at you now. Okay. And Chris H says, can a machine ever reach the idle reset state if credits have been abandoned on the machine? Well, it's stackable. Okay. Resets are stackable. So somebody taking out their player's card was a little bitty one that I didn't even mention. I just breezed past. So if don't play those credits because they're not yours. It's actually theft. Every casino thinks so. It's abandoned means isn't abandoned. How do you know it's abandoned? Maybe they're in the break room and now they're coming back and what happened to my money? And then you're arrested. That's not abandoned because you don't know that it's abandoned, even if you wait and see and it's an hour later. Call a slot attendant, put it out, set it on top, whatever. Don't play it. But as soon as you print it out, as soon as the slot attendant does it or you do it, clock is ticking on the reset. And it was ticking already with the card being removed. Yeah. Every time I answer a question, there's like a deeper, you guys are great. It's great questions. What if I don't remove both the player's card, but I leave the money in? What if I leave my player's card in, but not the money? It's just like, good for you. Good for you. Great questions. Absolutely. Yeah. But I tend to go towards better, more aggressive resets rather than lesser, more minor resets, because, there's all kinds of ways I could talk on all the things that I've learned how not to win, which I assume you're not interested in. I talk about how to win and all the other stuff. Well, if I get a question about cruise ship slots or whatever, I'll tell you what I know, because then that, people want to know. But mostly I'm like, let's talk about how to win. And, a lot of the stuff that I have done is only, answers Q&A questions about how to lose. Yeah. Yes. So there is something that goes on I talk about occasionally is, as Magpie 11 has reminded us, in Las Vegas, wins in the afternoon until 5 p.m. What's going on with not just Las Vegas, but Nevada is, unless in general, they like to lower the odds for the weekend because California comes to visit. And the weekend starts on Friday. But when does it start on Friday? Well, people start showing up from California 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I kind of like cut it off around noon myself, but yeah, sure, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they stay until Monday, 10 o'clock in the morning. So the weekend is not the weekend. It's a little bit of Friday and a little bit of Monday. And that's when they lower the odds. But then they raise the odds during the week between 10 o'clock on Monday, 5 o'clock on Friday, to help the locals. And then the average is what we get on the reports, because it's only reported to the Gaming Commission weekly and then to the public monthly. And that's, on average, 92.7%, 93%, which is pretty good. Indiana's average is 90%, which is 3% lower. And if you've ever heard me talk about it, 3%, 2.5% improvement in the odds is like worthy of a backflip. That's how important that is. And reduction is like not wanting to do a backflip. Let's see. Mind-blowing. Okay, questions. John has a question. Facebook does not appeal to me. Absolutely. Oh, completely understand. Doesn't appeal to me. I have 57 Facebook groups, and I, created one for a couple of countries, English-speaking countries, which haven't yet. It's what awesome shenanigans Facebook is doing, including now. Don't get me started. So I'm completely with you, but it's a tool that helps locals, state by state Facebook groups for them that are comfortable with Facebook to share their wins. Okay, so that's there. Have you thought about setting up a local state groups in another platform? You mean like TikTok? Oh, no. That's worse than Facebook. Twitter? No, they don't really have multiple profiles. If you've got a suggestion, I'd be interested. But it does take a year or two to get all the people in. What I did instead was I created 1 month free in my Slots IQ membership. So it's there's nice things about Facebook, which there's terrible things, but there's nice things where they can notify you on your phone, and you get notifications when something's said, and so without that kind of ubiquitous app solution, then you're kind of stuck with that. I looked into all this. Did you know there's like 250 social media apps? And one of them might be the future of Facebook, but I haven't found. I have one Facebook group which is for everybody, 18,000 plus members, and that works. So I figured I'd make my 1 month free for anybody taking the course membership group. Now, there is another approach, which I am considering, which is a free app. But recently they just got started. It's called Volley. It's asynchronous video messaging where you can leave a text if you want to. And I'm thinking about starting, quite possible to start state-by-state groups. But that's all, they're moving to a paid program, not paid for you, paid for me. So I would have to pay for you to have access. And it's like $4 a month, which means if I get 10 people, it's $40 a month, which means if I get 18,000 people, well, the business has to be able to support doing that. And so there is a way to do that. And we'll have to see. They allow uploading of videos, but only 250 megabytes. And, a lot of people on my Facebook groups just upload 2 gigabyte, video files, which then Facebook then slashes and they're hard to even look at. So I have thought about some. It's an ongoing thing. I understand the concerns with Facebook very much so. Yeah. But if you've got a suggestion on another platform that isn't having some sort of issue, send me an email, john@professorslots.com. Back in Black. Question: for casino events that offer those night owl promotions that run from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., is it still a good idea to play after these events or wait 4 hours later? This would be how these. This is the topic of the last two live streams, which is come in between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. to take advantage of the previous days being busy at the casino. So you're talking about a promotion that is already in the next day. So if that's a huge event, then come in at between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. the next day, roughly 24 hours later, because using that strategy, they won't need to do the accounting balance that I talk about until the next day. Yeah. But only if the promotion is like huge, because, we need to have a big event. Hey, Sugar Moon Garden, I appreciate your comments and emails lately. Interesting thoughts. I do appreciate it. Thomas, and you as well. I just saw, YouTube didn't let me know like till 5 days after you commented that, hey, Thomas has commented. So I apologize for that late response, but I did respond because YouTube's been doing that lately. Question: casinos regularly move machines around. Is the machine or the location more important? The location is more important. Now, if they are remodeling and they're installing a carousel where there had never been a carousel before, or they're putting in a cafe and they're rearranging the slot machines around it, that's not they are moving machines, but they're not like replacing. So when there's a replacement going on, pull out a slot machine, put a new one in a row or a carousel, and not making a clean piece of floor now covered with slot machines. When it's just a straight up replacement, it's not the machine, it's the location. Casinos, I can't tell you how hard they work, how hard they work at, where is the elevator, where the high traffic area, and how do we place our machines? Not all of them, but one of them can be seen from that direction. And, you know, they, they test it and then well, we got to tweak it a little bit, got to move it over here, try this, and what if when everybody's leaving to go to the elevators, not from the elevator? So we have to set up one that's kind of facing that. They put endless amount of activity, and they don't want to lose that investment 5 years later by changing where the entrance is under the casino floor. They've invested in the position of slot machines for years, tweaked it, made it better, and they just won't throw that away unless they really do need to make a change, because then they have to start from scratch. So the location is what's important. Yeah, when moving machines around. Hope that helps. And I feel like I'm getting in between couples here. Minka says, I share my bigger wins with my house spouse. If he's been losing, he does the same. Sounds like a great relationship. I'm going to step out of this as quickly as possible. Camilla is, for most of us, it's probably better to go alone unless partner is equally disciplined or undisciplined or something. And Crystal says, that's my boyfriend. He's ready to bow out after a small $20 win. And who's to say that's not wrong? Getting back to questions, please use #question so I can see your question to me. I have noticed that when I am playing a popular slot machines in the state of Washington, the machine will do an extra long spin once in a while. Any theories on what that means, if anything? So in the state of Washington, you have unique slots that are not in any other U.S. state. You also have machines that are common. The bingo style machines in tribal casinos in the state of Washington are what you might find in Oklahoma. And you may or may not have been in that machine. The machine that would have an interesting result is the Class 3 machines, which are based on scratch ticket lotteries. And scratch ticket lotteries means that they're electronic and they have to be downloaded from off-site onto the machine in batches and sub-batches. And I go through all of this, and if you go to professorslots.com, you can find this explanation, which you might be interested in. Professorslots.com, and can you see my mouse? Right here is strategies, and if you click on strategies, then it's all my documents, and I mentioned tough love. There's a strategic plan to win on Washington's unique slots, and that's what I'm kind of hinting at here, and that's there for you, professorslots.com. Then hit the strategy button, and it's the second article at the moment. So the time it takes to so you are probably talking about a mechanical device, physical reel, and not a video slot, because I've never seen that on a video slot. But on a mechanical reel, I've seen that often. It never meant anything. Never meant anything. Why is it hesitating? What's going on here? Does it have to like spin through an extra spin? Never has meant anything. But if it's something for the unique slots in Washington, in the state of Washington, it might be an indication that it's loading a sub batch because it needs a second, but doesn't want to like fault out. It just needs a second, and that because the batches are small. The state law talks about how big the batches are, and I go through all of that. And so, yes, it has to go to the next batch. And the last thing any of those casinos want with those machines is to give you trouble, and having it just go a little extra long spin doesn't get anybody too upset. Yeah. Where everything faulting out and a slot attendant coming over and doing all this other stuff, that would be a problem. So yeah, that's an easy solution, is if they need a little pause, just to let it run for just a second while they load up the next virtual sub batch of virtual scratch tickets. Thank you, John. John is in Manila, in the Philippines, which is, by the way, like the best place in the world to play slots. They're just up and coming, all the best machines, best gaming regulations. It's fantastic. So if we see something there, we should watch for it elsewhere. And so he says the last 2 months in the casino were rough. August, September was just brutal. Well, October, the end of October, November, December are the best time of the year. So it makes sense that they would dip before all that excellence gets here. And it's not as much of a dip as January, February after the whole Christmas season, New Year's, Halloween, Thanksgiving. That whole time is often just the best part of the year. So they drop before and after, but nothing, you say brutal, but you got to make sure you don't use too many adjectives because you want to keep a couple for after starting January 2nd. I mean, where are you going to go from brutal? Where are you going to go from tough, tough, really brutal? So give yourself a little bit of leeway there, because you think August, September was bad, just try January, February every year. Thank you for the question, John. Always great to see you here. I learned so much from reading those gaming rigs in the Philippines. It's like the best gaming rigs from Nevada, only they wrote them from scratch instead of like 90 years of editing. It's just sort of like, just say it. I thought it was just really enlightening to read those gaming rigs. Lita, will a machine hit again after one hits one time? Is it a waste of time to sit and hope it will? 50-50. You know something about your machine. It won. When most of us sit down at a machine, we don't have that information. So yeah, there is a possibility. I like to make 10 bets at most. Don't do it if that's not your plan. If you want to get out because you had a win, just get out. Don't let me stop you. But minimum, I like to hit it one more time, one more bet, just to see if it's a double hit, because that happens. Then if you don't do that, I like to make 10 bets just to see if it's not a lightning strike, win one time, win the only time that day it's going to ever win, and you won it. Okay, great. Maybe it's set to win. So I like to give it 10 spins, no more. It's tough love, right? And that's here to show you. That's my tough love approach. Just go under professorslots.com and just hit strategies, and it's the first article at the moment. And when you do that, 10 bets, if you make your money back or more, tough love, then that's how you know. Yeah, 50-50. But you're better off knowing the machine had a win just a moment ago. I mean, I see people like, the machine has a big win. Can't play it because it's not going to win for a while. What are you even talking about? 50-50 chance it's going to be another big win right after that because it's set to win. So many slots enthusiasts will be like, oh, it's over. It's over. No, I've seen machines that sit there for 3 days, and I'm just like, I what's going on? Why is this misunderstanding there? But it's a strong misunderstanding. It's amazing the strange misunderstandings that people have. I was talking to a friend in the area that I'll be church, and talking to the pastor, and just the other day, and so I sold my car a few months ago. No better time to sell a used car with 137,000 miles. Got $2,000 over Blue Book price, and so I'm moving to Reno in 10 days or so, whatever, and 9-10 days, and taking the cats with me, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But they were like, so the first thing you're going to do is buy a car. And I was like, it's not in my top 5, it's not in my top 10, it's not in my top 20. Why should I buy a car when I live in town? 3 miles from the nearest casino and 4 miles from the nearest international airport. Have you not heard of Uber? People in the United States love their cars, and sometimes it blinds them to, um, you know, uh, people see a win on a slot machine and they make all these assumptions. I think it's an indication that it's possibly a winning machine. Magpie, during the brutal months, could it be I'm using the wrong strategy? The monthly percent don't change much, right? So I need the strategy that works. What I've been tending to think, slow seems months pays around the 1st or the 30th. Yes, so we have return statistics for 20 states, monthly return statistics, 6 of them provided by slot machine denomination, and in those 20 cents, 40% of the U.S. states, we talk about it being brutal here, yet we don't see it in the return statistics. What's going on? And it's several comments today has been about, is it better to go in the morning because I seem to win more, in the afternoons I don't seem to win? Yeah, the odds are not changing on the return statistics, so the better time moved from where it was to its new time, and they may be back. So what casinos, I mean, casinos, you use a player's card. Most of you use a player's card. And while your information is private and cannot be sold, the casino can say, people come to the casino at this time, they play these machines for this long, and they have all this, frankly, marketing data. Like your grocery store knows when you buy avocados, and everybody else, they can make plans with this information. So when the odds don't change overall and everything is tight, that means they moved it to a different time consistently, wholesale, set the schedule different. And so how well do you know your casino? People make assumptions. Oh, well, that machine shows a win, so therefore it's not going to show another win. Where did that even come from? Check your assumptions. If you are winning and then you stop winning and the odds don't change, you wait a month and it comes out and you're like, what happened? I mean, I don't see that tightness. What did the casino do? When did they move that to a different time? What time? Get to know your casino well. Yeah. Right. What Magpie is talking about is she goes enough that many different casinos, Las Vegas, where I'll soon be in Reno and have casinos 3 miles from my house, which will be awesome. You'll benefit from that, but she goes so much that she's able to say, I seem to win during the first of the month or the last of the month, but not the middle of the month. And I don't know if you know anything about business, but casinos are on a schedule, quarterly, monthly, daily, and that matters. So yeah, if you are seeing beginning of the month, end of the month, but first of all, you gotta keep records, and if you do, I offer them, free with the course, and how to use them. It's also something I offer. So if you don't know what you are seeing from your casino, then too much is left to chance. Keep notes; they're amazingly useful. You will be disappointed, however, because you'll keep notes, you'll look back a month later, and you'll say, I should have kept better notes. Now I have to make better notes, and I have to wait a month, and then I look at them and then go, I should have made more notes. Because they're that valuable. They're that valuable. My cat is I'm ignoring my cat, and so she just brings the claws out. Kink. Oh. And Magpie has a typo. It says slow months seem to pay out around the beginning or end of the month, and that is Las Vegas, because she has records. Do you have records of your Louisiana casinos, Mississippi casinos? What do they do? This is one possibility, not necessarily nationwide. Yeah. Jan says, I am confused about your comments previously regarding reading the machine. Has it been played recently? Numbers on the machine, etc. What podcast or class would help me? Reading the machine. So what comments were I talking about reading the machine? Has it been played recently? Well, you can only tell if a machine has been played recently. Okay. So I was talking about moving the chairs. That's how you can tell if the machine has been played recently. If the chairs are pulled out and the slot attendants are aggressive about putting them back. So it must have only been a couple minutes. So the numbers on the machine, that was so hard to do, to go through, and I made little marks in my little notebook. Maybe you could like unobtrusively take a video and then twice and then watch it later and say, this one's changed, this one's changed, this one's changed. But I'm letting you know that when I went and looked at machines after a 12-hour period, from the quietest time to the quietest time, from late on a Sunday, late on a Saturday to early Sunday morning, every machine had been played. This is the level at which casinos are popular. Every machine is played. So you're saying, if it has been played recently, numbers on the machine, what class or podcast? So we're just talking about it now. I'm not sure what you are asking. The reading of the machine is just looking at the real symbols and coming back hours later and seeing if they've changed. That's it. And what I learned from that, and what you would learn from that, you don't have to do it, because what I learned from that was they changed. Like all of them, hundreds of machines. I went through the effort, and hundreds of machines, and they all became, what is going on? Something's going on behind me. Somebody's on the stairs. It's a person in the house. That was just, machines are played. That's the level of activity. I hope that helps. Thank you, Sugar Moon Garden. There's been a lot going on. Who it says, I've not found any other channel out there that's spot on like he is. Yeah. Bruce says, thank you, Sugar Moon Garden. Hashtag question for high limit slots is a slots that's showing the maximum major amount, like $10,000. Is that a slot machine to play? That's preferable over slots that's just paid its major. If your casino has must hit buy on progressive slots, whether or not it's actually labeled, that's something that you can use. Now, a casino that shows a must hit buy on a progressive jackpot, that's great. But if it doesn't show it, it might still have it, just not shown on the machine. It still functions the same way. It just doesn't tell you what that must hit buy amount is. Or they don't have it. And that's you have to decide which one it is. I don't like that you said the maximum major amount, like $10,000, 10000 period 00. That doesn't sound like a progressive jackpot. That sounds like it hit a cap. And if it hit a cap, it doesn't have a must pay by amount. It just stopped growing and will stay there. And there's no advantage there. When progressive jackpots go from, the top amount the must hit by amount, and it drops to the beginning amount, lower amount, like megabucks. It starts at $10 million, and then it climbs. And then does it have a must hit by amount? I don't know. I haven't checked. It takes a long time to become a specialist and get that data, but it drops to a certain amount, goes to a certain amount, and bounces back and forth. Anywhere in between, you can win. Anybody can win. It drops to the lowest amount, somebody can win. The strategy has to do with if there's a must hit by amount, then it must win. If it doesn't hit before that, if it gets to that high, you want to be there when the casino has must hit by on their progressive slots, and it's getting close to it. And so you don't have to spend much money to get it across the must hit by line. So with that all being said, which is preferable? There's no strategy if there's no must hit by amount shown or not shown. It sounds like your machines have a cap, which means there's no strategy, there's no better time. They're equal for what you've stated. Okay? Assuming your assumptions are correct. Questions? Maurice. Hey, Maurice. I just bought your course. Yep, I know. I saw you. I was wondering if you were going to add enthusiasts to your cast again. So that is a possibility. I am moving to Reno. What I had done for my podcast was offer interviews. I was doing some authors. I was doing some online slots experts, players, and I was doing some others. But eventually they all became sort of like, well, let me tell you about my 20 years of playing slots, and we'll talk about the 70s, 50 years of playing slots, and we'll talk about the 70s because I really enjoyed the 70s, and have an hour-long conversation. And I started thinking, maybe that's not what people are interested in. I would love to switch back to live streams. I never had more views on my podcast than I did with having interviews, but there's a matter of, kind of like keeping it interesting. So, well, it's possible. It's possible. I might collect people. And one of the things I might do is, reach out to people who have bought my course and say, would you like to have a conversation and talk about stuff? But, this last time somehow it all sort of switched to being nostalgic. Geez. Yeah, I got to keep my voice moist. And yeah, going on a long one today. Okay. And so, okay, that's it. What a great live stream. You'll see me on my next live stream a week from Tuesday. Not next Tuesday, but a week from Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. During the next week, I am moving myself and 2 cats to Reno, Nevada. I'd like to thank my fan, my moderator, my friend, Chuck, for volunteering to, letting me swing by Missouri on the way from Ohio and picking him up to help me with my 32-hour drive to Reno. Thank you, Chuck. In the meantime, I highly recommend you watch this video. My challenge to you to do this one free thing at your casino to improve your slots gambling performance. See you later in Reno.